Welcome and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, the Joint Board of Elections met Thursday to discuss how the gubernatorial runoff election will be handled, but Thursday's meeting made it clear that elections officials still have a lot to do to get ready for Tuesday. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
Thursday's agenda held two main items: the status of the general election and the gubernatorial runoff election that would be between the Matt Potter team and the Christensen-Otley team. The board approved a motion by Raymond Williams to reorder the agenda to deal with the runoff items first, although there was no actual declaration that a runoff is necessary. Board members had concerns with the sample ballot that was provided for review. There were no ovals next to each candidate's name. There was also a lot of discussion about whether the symbol was needed on the ballot, since that caused so many problems with the general election. The board finally approved a ballot without a symbol. That ballot will also have ovals to the left of the candidates' names, including a space for a write-in, and each ballot will be barcoded by precinct. We're told it takes the election systems contractor about 1 day to prepare the ballot, and then it takes 2 days to ship. That's not a lot of time when you consider that the runoff election is just 5 days away, and there's still lots more that needs to be done. They're still counting ballots in both districts and will be at least until Friday. Then the general election has to be certified by Saturday. There's the matter of hiring workers for the runoff election and training them. The voting tabulators also have to be tested and certified ahead of the election, and of course the public has to be educated on any changes. Now, the joint board voted to allow any electors voting absentee to vote by email or fax. Those voters, of course, waived their right to privacy. The board also voted to rescind the October 27th policy that had ballots being separated and put aside to scan later. This time around, everyone will be able to scan their own ballots, so we should see results a lot sooner.
That was Erica Parsons reporting. Now, the board was not able to discuss whether voters registering now will be eligible to vote in the runoff election. Board member Adelbert Bryant objected to not having legal counsel present to aid that decision. The board also didn't discuss the status of the general election. Meanwhile, the certification deadline for the general election is right on top of the district boards. The count has been affected by various factors since the general election. What is the status of the count, and how far are we from completing the territorial tabulations? News 2's April Knight has that story.
With certification deadline 1 day away, the district election boards rushed to wrap up the ballot count on both districts. The district boards were slowed down partly because of the joint board's decision not to let voters scan their own ballots. Board members ended up hand-counting thousands of ballots and remaking hundreds. The count was further slowed down by machine trouble on both districts, and the recent inclement weather that hit St. Croix hard affected 1 day of counting. Thursday was day off for St. Thomas St. John, so no votes were counted. On St. Croix, an emergency joint board meeting also meant less attention to the vote count. On St. Croix, there are 261 mail-ins left to count and an unknown number of provisionals. The number of write-ins could be in the thousands. St. Thomas St. John Chair Arturo Watlington said they're almost done and they're only waiting for the rest of the mail-in ballots to come in.
Those that were, could have been sorted, could have gone through the machines and rejects, as we call them, all of those have been counted. Everything has been counted. The only thing that's left to be counted now is the provisional ballots and absentee ballots that would be received today and tomorrow.
Neither district can close out the ballot count until close of business day on Friday, after which each board will have to convene and sign off on the certification.
We have prepared our certification document. The only thing that has to be done is the numbers needs to be punched in. If not Friday evening, if it's people are not available Friday evening or Friday night, it'll be done Saturday morning.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And here are the latest unofficial results from the election system. For governor, Kenneth Mapp continues to lead with 47.47%, while Donna Christensen has 38.74%. Kenneth Mapp would need a solid 50% plus 1 to avoid a runoff next week. On St. Thomas's senatorial race, Marvin Blyden retains the top spot, followed by Myron Jackson, Clifford Graham, Tregenza Roach, Jean Ford, and Jeanette Millen-Young. Donald Cole is still at 8th place, only 31 votes behind Justin Harrigan Sr., who overtook him on Wednesday. On St. Croix, the order is the same. From the top, it's Kurt Viollet, Novell Francis, Samuel Sanes, Kenneth Gittins, Neville James, Terrence Nelson, and Narita O'Reilly. Rocky Liebert has a solid spot with 59.08% of the votes for the senator at large race. The General Election Board has to be certified by November 15th. News 2 will keep you updated. Meanwhile, Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen took to the airwaves Thursday morning due to election concerns, especially the impending runoff. According to Christensen, she reached out to her opponent, independent gubernatorial candidate Kenneth Mapp, over the radio for them to, quote, put politics aside, end quote. Christensen said she wants them to come together to demand that the Board of Elections reveal the rules and policies surrounding the runoff, as well as put to rest concerns over the delay in the counting of the general election ballots. In other news, a car accident claimed the life of a man on Wednesday. The deceased is a white male in his 60s. Here's more details from VIPD.
Traffic enforcement officers on St. Thomas were dispatched to the scene of a fatal car accident, which occurred just after 11 p.m. on November 12th on the Nicholas Friday Drive in the area of Echo Tours Kayaks. The deceased is a white male in his 60s. Police said they are waiting for a definitive identification by the victim's next of kin before releasing the name. According to the preliminary report, the victim was driving a 2011 orange Jeep Wrangler and traveling west when he collided into the rear of a roll-off dumpster truck. Emergency medical technicians at the scene said the driver had no vital signs.
And we have confirmed through close friends and family the name of that driver as Dean Cole, a former teacher of Antilles School. The school's head, Michael Hughes, released a statement today stating, "It is with a heavy heart that we wanted to inform the community of the accidental death of Mr. Dean Cole, Antilles School class of 1971, stepfather of 2 Antilles students and husband of Mrs. Kim Cole, a former Antilles School teacher. As a graduate, former teacher, family member, and longtime supporter of Antilles School in all aspects of school life, Dean truly had a major impact on all who knew him. In the days to come, Antilles will continue to provide support through counseling and encouragement for those affected by the loss of this beloved family member and alum of Antilles School." Correction officials say one of their officers is still recovering after being attacked by at least 2 detainees Monday morning. 19-year-old Shaquan Prentice was charged with third-degree assault Wednesday. Officials say he beat the officer with a broom and released many of the detainees being held in that lockdown unit. That led to a riot, with the prisoners throwing stuff and lighting a mattress on fire before they were subdued by other responding officers. 6 detainees were treated for injuries. Those detainees are awaiting trial dates and are not within the regular prison population. Turn our attention overseas. After years of inaction, both houses of Congress are set to vote on a key issue of the Republican agenda: completion of the Keystone XL pipeline. The pipeline will move oil all the way from Canada to the Gulf Coast. Supporters promise more oil independence, and the U.S. Democrats have long fought against the pipeline because of concerns over its impact on the environment. Any action on the controversial measure is unlikely to get past President Obama. Incoming Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he hopes the Keystone conversation signals cooperation on a host of other energy bills that have been blocked. Keeping our eye on the economy, Toyota is voluntarily recalling 170,000 Camry vehicles worldwide because of a possible maintenance issue associated with the front suspension system. Owners of affected vehicles will be notified by mail. Toyota says it is not aware of any crashes, injuries, or fatalities related to this condition. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 40, Nasdaq 5, S&P 1. Coming up on News 2, Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. expressed his displeasure at the vote by the 38th legislature to stall consideration of a proposed agreement that would provide for the restart of Hovenza. We'll be right back. Governor John P. DeYoung Jr. expressed his displeasure at the vote by the 30th legislature to stall consideration of a proposed agreement that would provide for the restart of the idled oil refinery and provide both economic and employment opportunities on St. Croix. He said there are approximately 2 months left before a new legislature is seated, and it is my hope that the members of the 38th legislature will give serious priority to taking action on this agreement. The Senate voted unanimously to send the agreement to the Committee on Finance for additional consideration.
I had hoped that it would have been approved yesterday because I think that would have set us on a path, which has been on my central focus, and I think the central focus of even the senators, which is that we need jobs in our community, and the restarting of the refinery and putting it in a position to restart would have provided us with some permanent high-paying jobs and also business activity that we sorely need on the island of St. Croix. So from that standpoint, I'm sorry it did not pass. We negotiated very hard for the very best deal for the Virgin Islands since we met the principles of ABR as they were introduced to us by the owners of Hovensa and Lazard. But, I can't. The most important thing is that it was not voted down, and I think it going to the Committee on Finance basically is saying that we want an opportunity now to do our legal analysis and our financial analysis, and we're going to cooperate with them and give them as much information as they may need, and I'm sure the principles of ABR will also provide the same thing.
The Water and Power Authority held an emergency board meeting on Wednesday and authorized WAPA's Executive Director Hugo Hodge to establish an escrow account for Hemon Deltac. The account will go toward payment for the storage of a heat recovery steam generator. The initial deposit required on the account is $200,000. Another approved agenda item was the authorization of the WAPA CEO to enter into an agreement with Banco Popular for an extension of the maturity date of the 2008 Series C notes from November 13, 2014 to November 13, 2015. The Save Coral Bay Fund, with the full support of the Coral Bay Community Council, announced that it is partnering with the Virgin Islands Conservation Society to initiate legal action against the development of the St. John Marina proposed by the Summers End Group LLC for Coral Bay Harbor in St. John. Later this week, VICS will be filing appeals against permits granted to the marina developers by the St. John Coastal Zone Management Committee. A grassroots movement has quickly drawn over $75,000 in financial support from hundreds of people inside and outside of the Virgin Islands who are opposed to this project due to public outcry against the marina that they say would be destructive to federally listed endangered sea turtle habitat, endangered coral species, and a prime nursery for lemon and blacktip sharks. November is Military Family Month, a time to recognize and honor families of service members. The Virgin Islands National Guard and its Family Programs Office has planned many activities. On Veterans Day, the Family Readiness Group joined Virgin Islanders and marched in the parade. On St. Thomas, the FRG held a food sale to raise funds for upcoming holiday activities. There will be an annual organization day at the Vincent Mason Pool on St. Croix and Megan's Bay on St. Thomas. For the VI National Guard, the Family Programs Child, Youth, and Teen Councils, they are conducting Thanksgiving food drives on St. Thomas and St. Croix for deployed service member families. Well, to make sure that VI residents have something to be thankful for this Thanksgiving, Hope Inc. is delighted to announce its 6th annual turkey giveaway. Now, this will take place on St. Thomas and St. John on November 19th to the 21st. Hope Inc. is collaborating with local businesses to provide up to 75 families throughout the islands of St. Thomas and St. John with the free medium-sized turkey this Thanksgiving. Hope Inc. will also be offering free screenings, health prevention services, and information. For more on this event, you can call them. The number is 777-1611. Well, in entertainment news, earlier this week, we had the chance to speak to Mind's Eye creative director Sean David to get a sneak peek on his short film collaboration with recording artist Mike Laurie. Here's more from that interview.
The video was shot here on St. Thomas, and we actually kind of took a different route to the way we shot it. We didn't want to go in the places that just immediately draw a reference. We wanted to kind of really take opportunity to dig into the island and find some very unique locations. I've been doing a lot of work with some friends and colleagues. Two that I'd like to go ahead and mention for sure, Valania Clark and Mr. Rashad Martinez out of St. Croix. Valania does fashion design, things of that nature. And what makes it all unique, especially with Mind's Eye, is the fact that we all have collaborated on this one project from Mike. And I think people will really get an opportunity to see the VI talent just really on full display.
Be sure to tune in to CBS TV2 at midnight to see that. Now, stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.